Hi folks, I have your latest real estate numbers for ending August 2020. I've got a lot to talk about. Before I get started, let me say my name is Santo Sessa with RE/MAX Premier, and I love your comments. It encourages me to continue to do these videos, so please comment below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell button so you're reminded when these videos come up, and share them with your friends. The more people we get into the conversation on the comments below, the better. Okay, let's get started. So, Toronto Real Estate Board prints out its report, and this is a monthly report. Now, I know you're used to me doing these weekly. This is a monthly basis, so I'm comparing month after month after month. And this first page of the Market Watch, put together by the Toronto Real Estate Board, is comparing August last year versus August this year. Now I know you need to keep in mind August's, how do I say that in plural? The months of August are not the same when we're looking at this year versus last year. Last year was a typical season. We had our spring where prices and activity tends to go up and go crazy, and then we had our summer where excuse me, things tend to calm down a little bit, and then the fall usually we're going up again. Well, this year with the whole lockdown, this whole health crisis, everything has been crazy, and we really didn't have a spring, but the summer where things normally calm down seemed to have been our spring, and things have gone really crazy this summer. So August this year is not the same as August last year, so keep that in mind because some of these numbers are completely crazy. So when we compare sales last year for the month of August to sales this year, it looks like we are up 40% in sales. And we are when we look at just that number month over month, but there's another way of looking at this. When we look at average sold price, prices are up over 20% this August versus last year's average sold price, which is a phenomenal, crazy number. Let's take a closer look. Now we're looking at all home types, everything traded on the Toronto Real Estate Board, just as a general summary. And sales, when we look at July to August, they're down a little bit by 2.8%. And August is typically a little bit slower, but it's so hard for me to pinpoint why have sales dropped. Is it because, well, that's what's supposed to happen in August as people are on holiday, but still, these sales are over 40% more than they were August last year. Well, we're in a different season, a different mentality where the whole lockdown has turned everything upside down with respect to real estate and just about every other industry out there. When we look at average sold price, well, June, I'm going back here a few months, June, this $930,000, that was the highest average sold price ever. Now, I told you before at the beginning of this that there's one market stat you absolutely won't believe. What I just told you, that this 930 was the highest average sold price ever, that's not the stat I'm referring to. So then we go to July. Average sold price climbed a bit, and you might think that's the stat you're not going to believe. That's not it either. And now we're sitting at $951,000 as the average sold price for August. Also a phenomenal stat, but not the stat you won't believe. The stat you won't believe, I'm going to mention it at the end. Yes, I'm trying to keep you to the end of the video, so those of you that are super anxious and don't want to hear the rest, flip over right to the end of the video. Otherwise, bear with me. I'll get through all the different numbers, and then I'll get the one stat you absolutely won't believe. I promise it's going to be worth it. Okay, so things are looking good here generally. Sales are pretty strong. When I look at this, just as a quick glance, I'm looking at June, July, August, just kind of prices are sitting around 800,000 is kind of sort of a visual average, and right now they're 940, 950,000 is kind of the average. So in general, prices are way up from where they were last year around the same time. Now, I know it's a different situation this year, but prices are generally way up. Looking at months of inventory, at a 1.6, 1.4, and for August, 1.5 months of inventory. Now this is all the GTAs in general. That's phenomenal. We have a very healthy, strong market right now. Strong sales. There's lots of multiple offers. There's lots of properties being sold at list price or more. Let's take a look at just the city of Toronto, and this is all home types. Sales dropped a little bit in August, and average sold price now for June, this $1,022,000 just for the city of Toronto, that was the highest average sold price ever. And they've come down slightly each month. So in August, dropped by 0.5% from July. But still, we're off only by about $10,000 as far as an average sold price. That's nothing. It's basically the same. So just quickly taking a step back and looking at this chart, we're looking at prices between $900,000 and $800,000 last year this time. This year we're looking at $1,010,000 to $1,022,000 or so. Prices are generally much higher this year than they were last year around the same time. Looking at Vaughan, all home types, sales very, very close to where they were last month, but much higher than they were last year. Now, average sold price has dropped a little bit, dropped by almost 3% since what it was last month, but compared to last year, we're looking at around $1 million average sold price. Now, for the last 3 months, we were between $1,150,000 and $1.1 million. Average sold prices generally across the board in Vaughan are higher than what they were last year. Looking at, now this is a summary of all home types just for 3 areas. So here's all of Treb. You can see the trend here. This is the purple is the city of Toronto and the red is Vaughan. You know, generally speaking, all 3 areas are higher than what they were last year at this time. Now, I might be going through some of these slides a little bit quickly. You can download all the slides. There'll be a link below. Okay, so looking at a summary now of just detached properties. Treb for detached, all of Toronto Real Estate Board is up. For Vaughan, it's up by 0.5 point, and for Toronto, it's down 2.3%. Now, taking a closer look at that. So this is the city of Toronto, just detached properties. Sales, month over month, are down 0.3%. So let's just say they're basically the same. Average sold price is down by 2.3%. So average sold price for detached homes in the city of Toronto is a little bit over $1.5 million. So you're spending big money to buy a detached home in the Toronto area. But looking at prices last year this time from say 1.2 to 1.3 and a bit, now we're sitting at over 1.5 for the last 3 months in a row. Prices are much higher for detached houses this year than they were last year. And I kind of giggled there a little bit because generally prices are higher. Doesn't matter how you slice it. Doesn't matter what you're thinking of this health crisis. Doesn't matter where we were in April, which was the low point, and we hit, we'll just say for now, rock bottom in April when everybody was told to stay home. Well, we have recovered and prices are higher than what they were last year this time. Prices are generally higher than where they were in February and March, which was the high point this year before we went into the lockdown. Okay, so City of Toronto, detached, looking at months of inventory. Months of inventory, extremely low at 1.5 months of inventory. Now, the low point in price was April. That's when we had the highest months of inventory. And that's kind of generally how it works, months of inventory. As months of inventory increase, prices tend to come down. As months of inventory decrease, prices tend to go up. And at 1.5 months of inventory right now, it's extremely low. When we hit 4 months of inventory, between 4 to 6 months, that's a balanced market. Below 4 months, we're in a seller's market. And way down here at 1.5, we're in an extremely aggressive seller's market. Let's look at detached in Vaughan area here. So sales did drop over 11%, and average sold price went up by 0.5%. So average sold price stayed basically the same. But the last 3 months, average sold price for detached homes in Vaughan has basically stayed the same. So it's pretty stable there. Sales have been increasing since April. When we look at compared to generally the same time last year, I sound like a broken record. It's the same story. We are higher in average sold price this year than what we were last year. And we are basically sitting, if we look at the February, we are very, very close for Vaughan Detached where we were pre-lockdown. Months of inventory, not quite as low as they are in the city of Toronto for detached homes, but still at 2.2 months, extremely strong. It's a very healthy market for detached homes in general. Let's look at the city of Toronto condos. Sales did drop a little bit over 9%, and average sold price dropped by 1.4%, and that's comparing July to August. Looking back to last year, now we are slightly higher than what we were last year, and we're not where we were pre-lockdown. And condos is really the only market type where we have that situation. Detached, town, semi, we're higher than we were pre-lockdown. We're much higher than we were same time last year. But condos, although we're higher by 8.7% higher than where we were last year if we compare month over month, the other home types are much, much higher in percentages than where we were last year. So condos has taken a bit of a beating there. Looking at months of inventory, well, you saw the other market segments where we were 1.5 months, 1.2 months. Condos are sitting at 3 months of inventory. So it's still a seller's market, but it's getting much closer to a balanced market, and that explains why prices are not quite where we were pre-lockdown. Okay, so I have one stat for you that I've been telling you you won't believe. If we reverse back to April, when we were in that month, even the end of March, if I would have said to you, when everything around you, real estate-wise, was basically dead, quiet, sellers taking their properties off the market, buyers saying, I'm not going out there right now, and we were all told to stay home. If I would have told you then, oh, don't worry, by the end of August, we would have caught up to where we were last year in sales. You probably wouldn't have believed me, but let me tell you. So last year, from January to August, we did almost 61,000, almost a little bit over 60,000 in sales. This is all home types across the GTA. Well, this year for the same time period, January to August, so far we've done 57,750 sales. So it's not quite there, but we're only off by 2,349 sales. We're lower by 3.9%. If I would have told you in April, we're only going to be off by about 2,300 sales than where we were last year. Not to worry, you would have thought I was crazy. There's no way that that's possible. Well, this is where we are right now. We have basically caught up in sales, and if I had to make any predictions, which I'm not crazy about doing, we're going to be caught up in, we're going to be far ahead by the end of this year than we were last year in sales. So supply and demand is extremely strong. Prices are higher. I expect over the fall and winter prices to continue generally to go up. There'll be, especially when I do my weekly report, you're going to see them go down and up, but generally you're going to see prices go up. My name is Santo Sessa. I'm here to help if you need anything real estate wise. All my contact details are below or somewhere here on the screen. Thank you. Have an awesome we're at the end of August now. Have an awesome fall. I'll be speaking to you again next week when I get back to my weekly reports. Have a great day.